Okay, we'll start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagavarahang samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu. Anuttaro purisadamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Namo tassa samma sambuddhassa. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko. Ehipasiko vapanayiko pachatang veditavvo vinnuhiti. Namo tassa niyanika sadammasa. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sango samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sango ahuneyo pahuneyo dakkineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Namo tassa atta arya puggala mahasangasa. So this today's topic is like how to convince the skeptics about this right view, because there are two kinds of say wrong view adherents. There are two kinds of wrong view, mainly two major broad groups of wrong view. And skepticism means like one is adamant to one's own wrong view. He's a skeptic. Very skeptic person means like he won't listen to anybody. He won't, like say, he can't be convinced, even though he can see the truth very clearly, but still they don't budge, they don't oblige, they don't say easily move into the modification, the change, the upgradation. Those who stick on to their views, their beliefs very rigidly, those who can't easily budge to the new ideas, the new things, the new changes, though it is very much required, though they're getting a lot of kicks because of their wrong views, wrong beliefs, but still they don't want to give it up. It's one kind of blind faith. It's one kind of blind adherence, blind attachment. Some people are like some over smart, over intelligence. Though deep inside they feel the what exactly is the truth, but still outwardly they want to stick on to their ego, because like in this present sutta that we are going to see, though they get convinced about the importance, the beauty, the reality, the greatness of right view, but still because of their ego, what other people may think, if I budge to this, then the people may laugh at me. So that kind of ego also will make them not to change, not to say succumb, or not to accept. Forget about succumb, forget about surrendering. Even to accept what is wisdom, what is truth, what is good, what is beneficial. They can't give it up because of that false ego, because of that false belief, wrong beliefs, or rigid beliefs. So such a person is a skeptic. So there was one person by name Payasi. There are different pronunciations for that name. Some people call some books Payasi, 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 whatever it may be. So it is like Payasi, whether you can stretch that A, or if you don't stretch, it doesn't matter. So his name is Payasi. He was a prince. during the time of Buddha, and he was like I was uh, a very small prince of a very small province. Like it was one of the provinces in the present day Uttar Pradesh. That time it was called Kosala, the kingdom of Kosala. The king of that kingdom, that Kosala, that big huge empire, his name was Pasenadi. And Buddha, of course, used to stay in his capital, that is Shravasti, that is Kosala Empire's capital. That Pasenadi and his wife Mallika, they were like very staunch devotees of Buddha. For some 25 years, they served Buddha, both this king and also his wife Mallika. And this Payasi, he was one of the uh, say so a small province was offered to this prince and maybe his say father or his relatives. So he was the prince of that place. It's called uh, Setavya. That province, that small province was called Setavya. So he was the prince of that province, Setavya. And he was young, he was very quite intelligent, very intelligent and very energetic, very talented naturally. And he was a Kshatriya, like was a prince, quite wealthy, quite healthy. Because of all these reasons, definitely they will definitely have some kind of proudness, puffed up with some degree of proudness, but still he is very intelligent. Definitely the people who are having all these virtues, and if they are sufficiently skillful and intelligent, then they will yield to the right view. Is such situations you might have say, heard in with say in some circumstances like where like Upali, there was one great billionaire during the time of Buddha. He was very renowned in the entire Jambu Dvipa, entire this Indian subcontinent. He was very renowned, and he was following one wrong view by encountering Buddha, by having some debate and some kind of arguments, some kind of discussions with Buddha. He became a pious devotee of Buddha, devotee of right view. In the same way, you might have heard of the story of this uh, Venerable Nagasena and a very renowned king. He was a very world famous king, King Milander or Milinda. In India, people used to call him as Milinda, but he was a semi-Greek king, like in the sense like he has some lineage from the Greece also. So his name is Milander, and he was also very renowned, very powerful ruler, and of course he was also very intelligent, and he was also very quite spiritual. He was also like looking for the right knowledge, right spiritual knowledge. He had one debate with this Nagasena, Venerable Nagasena, and then he came out of his wrong views and he was convinced with the right view. And in that way, you might have seen how these the so-called skeptics, with some discussion, with some proper debate, uh, with some right masters, right teachers, how they can be convinced quite easily in a way. So that's what we are going to see in this sutta also, in this Payasi sutta also, this discourse given to Payasi. But it was not given directly by Buddha, but one of the very famous disciples of Buddha. His name is Venerable Kumara Kassapa. Kassapa, there are so many Kassapas, they were disciples of Buddha, some Mahakassapa, and there were three Kassapa brothers. They were also very renowned with a lot of, say, of course, wisdom, knowledge, practice, and then they were also having a lot of wrong views. They given up their wrong views to become the followers of Buddha with their followers, with their thousands of followers, the three Kassapa brothers. And there was one Mahakassapa. He was very, very close to Buddha. And to differentiate this Kumara Kassapa from the other Kassapas, He was called as the young Kasapa. Kumara means like young Kasapa, and he is also very, very special, very renowned in his teaching abilities, in his abilities to give the suitable parables, suitable examples, gauging the mind of the disciple or the devotee or the person who wants to learn from him, uh, or the person who wants to debate with him. He could easily gauge their minds, their mental abilities, their say their temperaments, their inclinations, what kind of similes, what kind of analogies, what kind of parables they can understand. And accordingly, he used to give suitable parables and he used to teach them very effectively. So, as a very effective and very, say, very convincing teacher, he was renowned during the time of Buddha. And he has that kind of title also, the most effective teacher, the most convincing teacher. That was the title given to him by Buddha to this Kumara Kasap. And once he was traveling with his disciples, this Kumara Kasapa, in this province, in this Setavia province, and many people they used to they came to know that this great Arahant, this great master, is traveling here in this Setavia. Hmm. Then this prince also he came to know that this Kumara Kasapa is traveling in his province. So he told all his his ministers, the wise people who wanted to visit this Kumara Kasapa and listen to his discourse. Just wait for me. I will also come and I will put forth my view. He was having one pernicious, very wrong view. Pernicious means like very like distorted wrong view. There are mainly two kinds of distorted or these pernicious views. One is the eternalistic views, like many theists, they hold on to that view. There is one creator, Brahma, creator God, and one should succumb to, yield to him, surrender to him. And then one can become one with him. So that kind of eternalistic views, a set of people with the wrong view, they hold on to it. And the other group, they have what is called the nihilistic views or this kind of annihilation. After death, everything gone. Death is the end of everything. So by giving up the body or giving up everything, that's it. You will get annihilated. There's nothing beyond the death. That is like more of body centered. Body gone, everything gone. That is called annihilistic view or the nihilistic view. The other extreme view, there are so many sub views in that extreme view of annihilism and also in this eternalism. The other extreme, this eternalistic view is like there is something called soul. By taming, by mending the body and the senses, you can free, you can liberate the soul and it becomes one with the supreme soul. So that is the other extreme wrong view. So this man, this gentleman, this Payasi, he belonged to this, the first, this annihilistic views, annihilistic wrong views. He was having this three wrong views in his mind. Which all those three wrong views, they come under this heading of annihilistic or this body-centered views. So the body-centered views are the soul-centered. These are the two extreme wrong views. These are the extreme views, which are the wrong views. The right view is the in between, like it is the mind-centered. So in that mind-centered view, you can't completely say that after death everything will be vanished. Once the body vanished, the mind also everything gets vanished. No. And in this soul-centered view, once the body is vanished, then there is something called soul, which is beyond your mind also. Then it becomes like if it is good, then it becomes one with the supreme soul. So that kind of one imaginary view, that is another extreme view, that is the eternalistic. But this boy or this prince, this Payasi, he belonged to this after death, everything gone. And he was having three rigid views based on this annihilism, based on this wrong view of annihilism. What are those three wrong views that he was having in his mind? One is like there is no world beyond this. Whatever we see with our five senses, that is the world. After this, there is no other world. Everything gets annihilated once these five senses and the body is gone. So there is no other world. That is one wrong view that he was having. There is no simultaneously or spontaneously born beings, like some divine beings or even some, say, some uh, the ghosts also. They born spontaneously. The divine beings, Brahmic beings also, they born spontaneously. They did not enter into the womb of the mother, or then they can't, like when, as an embryo and then as a child. There is no need for these spontaneous beings to take birth in the mother's womb. They can take birth spontaneously as an adult, directly as an adult, as of course with some glow in the case of divine beings and the Brahmic beings. So that kind of spontaneous beings are not there. That was another wrong view that he was having. And one more wrong view that he was having is like there is no result for there is no result and there is no fruit for your good and bad actions. There is nothing, like he was not interested in this right view of the cause and effect. Good begets good, bad begets bad. Good actions lead to good results, bad actions lead to bad results. That is very, very core teaching of Buddha. All Buddha's teachings, they're rooted on this. That is the right view that Buddha wanted to say, emphasize in almost all of his discourses, because he wanted people to perform, indulge in knowing what is right action and perform right action. Then only the purification starts, then only happiness they start getting, then only the right results, right fruits they start getting, which is happiness, which is success. Here, now, in this life, and also hereafter, even if you give up the body, the mental flow, the consciousness flow, stream of consciousness, it carries these fruits of action, this power of action, and you will get back the results, the fruits in the subsequent lives also. That's why one should be careful about thinking, about action, about speech, about to look at the right view aspect in all these things. That's what is a Noble Eightfold Path. Starting from right view, right thoughts, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right efforts, right mindfulness, learning, practicing the right mindfulness, right awareness, and right stillness, right concentration, right liberation, right knowledge. So all these things, they follow when you have this belief or this faith or in this understanding of good begets good, bad begets bad, good actions lead to good results, bad actions lead to bad results. This basic understanding, if a person lacks, then he can't cultivate his mind, then he can't be happy, then he can't get the right results. That is the very, very core teaching that he wanted to impart. And that's why he always talks about this mind-centeredness view, that is the right view, not to fall into the extreme view of the body-centeredness or the soul-centeredness. So that's what all the disciples of Buddha, all the great masters, arhants, who became arhants under the training of Buddha, they used to teach, including our this Venerable Kumara Kassapa. But this gentleman, this Payasi, he was not having the faith or the belief or the view of this cause and effect. So these three wrong views, all they dominated his mind, this Payasi. Just like even today, there are so many people like so-called atheists, materialists, those who are very much confined to the body, sensual pleasures, the bodily pleasures. And after the death, many people believe that there is nothing like the good and bad, there is nothing like good results, bad results, for good actions and bad actions. Huh? Once we die, everything gone. Some 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 belief, some people have that kind of staunch, very strong belief. Hmm. Like some atheists, materialists, and this humanists, rationalists. There's so many people. There are so many kinds of this body-centered materialists, body-centered wrong view, other ends. So this Payasi also is like one of these rationalists or humanists for more of body-centered. Of course, there are so many other humanists and rationalists who have some kind of belief or faith in this cause and effect. But majority of them, they see only body as the ultimate, senses as the ultimate. And this person also belongs to the same category, this Payasi. So he thought that I should go and argue with this Venerable Kumar Kasapa, who is a disciple of Buddha. So who hold this right view? And let me see how he debates with me. That was his intention, this Payasi's intention. Of course, he was also a truth seeker, knowledge seeker, like most of the people during those days. They were interested in this kind of getting the right knowledge with right interaction, with right discussion. So along with so many wise people, so many householders, so many, say, ministers, Brahmins, so many Kshatriyas, merchants. So he just went to visit this Kumara Kasapa, and he has put forth his views. These are my views. There is nothing like other world after this body. That's it. There is nothing like other world, other than the world that we see, that we experience with this body. So after this body, there is nothing like other world. Only this world. It is my view. And the second thing is there is nothing like spontaneously born beings, like many people. Many religious people, they talk about spontaneously born beings, like divine beings, like Brahmic beings, but I don't subscribe to that view. I don't, I have not brought that view, and I don't want to subscribe to that view. And the third thing that I strongly defend myself is like there is nothing like cause and effect. There is nothing like fruit and the result for good or bad action. Action is action done, that's it. There is no repercussion, there is no consequence, there is no say a result. That's what is my view. In that way, he started putting forth his view. For that, Kumara Kasapa asks, all right, how can you defend your view? How can you say that there is no other world and there are no other spontaneously born beings? Only the visible, like animals and the humans only are the beings. That's what you are saying. And there is no cause and effect. That's what you are saying. How can you prove it? What is the basis of your argument? That way, this Kumar Kasapa asks this Payasi, this Prince Payasi. And this Prince Payasi, he gives his argument. The first argument that he says, there are so many arguments. And of course, maybe some of them say it may be suitable for the people in the present generation also. That's why I thought of say, introducing this discourse. So his first argument, of course, he gives a few more arguments also that I consciously ignored because it's not much relevant to the present generation. And also, like we don't have much time. So his argument is so many of my friends who are bad, who are wicked, who are who indulged in so many unwholesome activities like killing, like cheating, like taking intoxicants, like indulging in sexual misconduct, like lying or stealing, all these things. So I told them, so when you die because of all your immoral activities, so many people say that such people will take birth in the hells, in the hellish realms with a lot of suffering. So if that is the case, you come back to me and you inform me that yes, the good begets good, bad begets bad, that law of cause and effect works. So that you just tell me, then I can change my view that there is no other world. That view I can change that, then I can say that there are some hellish beings who can form spontaneously. There is a result for your good and bad actions. There are other worlds. So these views I can give up. This I can cultivate. This right view I can cultivate. The opposite I give up. You just come back to me and tell me that what happened to you after the death. But after their death, many of my friends who are so evil, and they no nobody came back to me, nobody told me that where they have taken birth and what kind of punishment they are going through. So because of that reason, again, it has reinforced my view. My, of course, for me it is right view. That's what was Buddha, this Payasi's argument. So it reinforced me that there is no other world, there is no result for the actions. There are no spontaneously born beings like the hellish beings or the divine beings or the Peta beings or the Brahmic beings. That's what is my argument. Then Kumar Kassapa, he gives his argument, his convincing, his point. All right, now let us say there is a thief. He has done a lot of mistakes, a lot of killing, a lot of stealing, a lot of say lying and all. Some great blunders he has done. Now he was caught and he was brought to the king, like say he was brought to you, the prince. And what kind of punishment you give? I asked them to cut his head. So then they take him to cut his head. The executioners. At that time, um, this thief says, "No, no, wait, wait. I want to go and tell some of my friends, some of my say relatives that if I do bad actions, I will get bad results like this kind of execution. The king will execute me. So that I want to go and tell some of my friends who are also like bandits. Then they will learn. Then they will learn. So what is the right action? Not to do this killing, not to do this stealing, and all. They will learn. Let me go and tell them about the consequence of bad action. So just give me some time. In that way, if you request these executioners, whether they permit him, in that way again he this counter questioning he starts. This Kumara Kassapa to this Prince Payasi. Then he said, how come it's possible? He already executed, now he's at the say he's in that at the verge of his life. So nobody will allow when he was already executed and punished. So now the executioners they do their duty. They will not allow him to go and tell his relatives and friends. The same thing with these hellish beings who are in this hell suffering from their wrong actions, from their immoral wrong actions, unwholesome actions that they have done. So nobody will be allowed to come back to this human world and to tell you that so this is the consequence of bad actions. We are suffering in the hell. So you also don't do the bad actions. You also change your view. That they can't come back to you and they can't tell you because they will not be allowed. That is one thing. And again, it's already a different dimension, different plane. So they don't have the ability to move from the hellish realm to the human realm. And again, the third point is they might is that being altogether a different realm. They might have completely forgotten about the promise that they have made to you that they will come back and tell. In that way, don't hold on to this wrong view, this pernicious view. You don't have this faith in this good begets good, bad begets bad. Then you can't work on the mind. Then you can't stick on to this mind-centered right view. Then you can't purify your thoughts, your speech, your actions. Then you can't derive the true happiness and true freedom. And you can't involve in the meritorious action, the wholesome action. That way you will ruin your life. You start accruing the demerits by doing all nonsense things in the life. And you will suffer here and now, and also you will suffer hereafter. Because of that reason, you give up your wrong views. In that way, Kumara Kassapa say suggests this Prince Payasi, but still he was not happy. No, I don't agree with you. That's how the skeptics generally they behave. So again, this Payasi says, no, I stick on to my views. Then what is the point? What is your argument? Again, if some good people performing wholesome actions, all right, bad people they may forget, or they will not be allowed by the hellish warders to come back and tell me. But some good people doing all good things, all wholesome actions, So after their death, I requested them also to come back and tell me what is your destiny, how much results, good results you are getting, how much good fruits you are enjoying in the next life. If you have next life and if you are enjoying the results of your good actions, you just come back and tell me. I had requested them, but nobody came back to me. Nobody told me. Then how can I say that there is another world other than this world? There are spontaneously born beings, and there is result for your good and bad actions. How can I trust this view that you are talking about, this right view that you are talking about? How can I believe if none of them have come back to me and told me? Though they are very, very say trustworthy people, but they have not come back. So now you just tell me, how can I believe? Then this Kumara Kasapa says, all right, now let us say one person who has fallen into a cesspit, cesspit, the toilet pit, the ancient days, the septic tank, the toilet pits. So he has fallen into that kind of septic tank, toilet pit, and he was thoroughly, like, say, immersed with all that rubbish and all that bad smell of the toilet pit. And say you ask some of your laborers to pull him up and to clean him, and he was thoroughly cleaned, bathed several times, and anointed with so many, say, oils and so many scents, and he was asked to enjoy some sensual pleasures. Then, whether you, then if you ask him, say again, go back to this cesspit. Now it's enough. In that way, if you tell him whether he dares to go back to the cesspit and fall into the cesspit, he says no, because he gets disgusted with that cesspit. He avoids even that very smell of the cesspit from a distance. The same thing happens to the people who are enjoying the divine pleasures. Those who are enjoying the divine pleasures after performing all the wholesome deeds, meritorious actions like generosity, morality, meditation, service, with the right view, if they have performed all those things, and definitely they take birth in the divine realms, and they don't feel like coming back to this human world, which is quite filthy, quite rubbish. They completely avoid this, whatever promise they have. But very coming to here itself is one very disgusting, very, very avoidable thing for the divine beings. Because of that reason, none of them make say any kind of effort to come back to you and tell about the right view of spontaneously born beings, that is divine beings, and also the good actions bring good fruits. And there are other worlds that they don't want to come back to you and tell you, because this thing, it is as like a cesspit for the divine beings. And again, he was not convinced. No, I still stick on to this, my own views. That way he says. And again, what is your point? Again, he says, uh, at least some of them should come to me and tell me, because they are so much close to me. Then he says, the difference in the lifespans of the divine beings and the human beings. Here, 1 day and 1 night is equal to, say, the 1 day in 1 night, one day and 1 night in the Tavatimsa divine realm, one of the divine realm. So there, 1 day and 1 night is equal to our human life, human beings, 1,000 years. They might have thought, okay, today we are taking rest. Next day we will go and tell our Prince Payasi about this divine realms, about the other worlds, about the good fruits that we are enjoying because of our meritorious actions. Let us go and tell. Let us say tomorrow. So immediately after taking birthday, if they thought like that, then is it possible for them to come back and tell you no? Because in 1 day, so our lives will be gone. We will die, because 100 years, so not even 1 day, even 1/10 of a day of the divine beings. our lifespan will be over. We will die. So again, because of that reason, they might not have come back to you and told about this. The right view of good begets good, bad begets bad. And again, he was not convinced with this argument, with this statement also. And again, he says, uh, again, I'll stick on to my uh, argument that there is no other life, there is no other world, because I don't see. If I see, if I experience with my senses, then I can believe. If I don't see, how can I believe whatever you are saying? That way, again, he's just rigidly stick on to his view. Then he says, let us say one blind man who has not seen day and night. For him, everything is okay. Day and night, all the time it is dark only. And also, he has not seen the different colors, the different objects, the visual objects, and all he has not seen. So, if you tell him that there is day, there is light, there is night, there is darkness, there are different colors like green, yellow, red, orange, everything. Then if he says that no, 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 I have not seen them, you're lying, you're wrong. In that way, if it tells you, then what will you say? Oh, you don't have that sense, that ear sense faculty you don't have. That's why you can't see these things. I can see these things. So in that way, you have your own limitation. So in that way, you try to convince him that there is ear sense, there are objects that are visible to the eye sense, sorry, there are objects visible to the eye sense. In that way, you tell him. The same way, there are different dimensions of the mind. It's not just these five senses which can perceive the things like the visible objects or the sounds through the ears or the taste and smells through the nose and tongue or the touch, the tangible objects through the body. In the mind, there are 152 dimensions. It has so many ways of perceiving different kinds of beings, different kinds of words, uh, different mental dimensions. If you cultivate them, if you develop them by meditation, then you can easily connect to these different realms of existence in the universe, in the world systems. Then you can easily see the different worlds, and you can easily realize how the good begets good, how the good people are getting the good results, bad people are getting the bad results, and how these spontaneous beings are there. Everything you can see, you can experience with your mental eye by cultivating the mind, by purifying the mind, by through meditation, through this right view meditation. That's what all of us we have learned from Buddha. Thousands, millions of people are learning from Buddha. That's what we realized. That was the again next argument given by proof given by this Kumara Kassapa. Don't simply stick on to these the five senses. The reality of the five senses is the ultimate reality. No, that is the wrong notion. There are so many realities beyond these five senses, which can be perceived only by developing the mind, only by opening up the so-called mental eye, by opening up different mental dimensions through purification, through meditation, through right view meditation. Just like this blind man who could not see from his birth, he is blind. He defends blindly. Again, he became blind in his mind also. Like started saying no colors, no day, no night, no dark, no brightness. In that way, he defends that it's because of his limitation, both in his senses and also in his wisdom, in his ability to foresee and comprehend the things. The same way, don't behave like a blind man who is blind of these mental abilities. If you cultivate your mind through meritorious actions, through meditation, then you can see all these things, other worlds, the spontaneous beings, the effect of good actions and bad actions, the result of those things. You can see that. That way, he gives this parable of blind man to show him about the importance of cultivating the mind, not simply stick on to or stuck on to these physical senses. In that way, Kumar Kassapa tried to convince him. And again, adamantly, he says this Payasi, till I believe in my own views, I don't subscribe to your view. Huh? If that is true, then why not all the blind, all these wise people who have realized the right view, who have seen the different mental dimensions, why should they carry their body? Why should they simply suffer from this burden of body and mind? They would have killed themselves and they would have entered into some divine realms, entered into some Brahmic realms where there is higher happiness. If they have performed all these right actions, right things, well, why should they carry this human body with a lot of suffering, a lot of diseases, a lot of old age problems? They would have killed themselves. Why should they wait for the death and to become old and suffer? And at the time of death only, they have to give up their body. They would have given up their body by killing themselves after performing a lot of meritorious actions, right? You meritorious actions. Then again gives one parable, this Venerable Kumara Kassapa. See, for everything requires what is called ripening. Though you develop a lot of mental maturity in the right view and right view meditations, but you should not be satisfied with that. The body also should get a lot of ripening, just like every fruit also should get ripened to get its original actual taste. You can't artificially ripen by pressing it. Of course, now artificial ripeners are there, but by pressing and by say by some artificial means, if you ripen a fruit, then it will not be like the proper way of getting that deliciousness in the fruit. And also he gives one more parable that one lady with her greed for inheriting uh, the uh, uh, the property of her husband to her child inside her womb, the embryo. So one blunder she does when she was arguing with the son of one her stepson. Her stepson tells her that now all the property of my father should come to me. But this lady says, no, the embryo inside, if it is a boy, then the property should be shared. If it is a girl, then he can take all the property. That was, of course, the rule, the law during that time. And this stepson, no, I don't agree. Now only I want to see if it is boy or girl. Otherwise, I will grab all the property of my father. Then what she does, of course, this is like a story, like a parable he is giving, this Kumara Kassapa, Venerable Kumara Kassapa. She takes one knife and she just cut her womb to see whether that embryo is boy or a girl. But in that dangerous move, she killed herself and also she killed the infant, the boy, the fetus inside the womb, that embryo. So that's what will happen if that natural ripening of the body, natural death, if you don't embrace. Killing yourself is also violence. It becomes a demerit. And also it's like a greedy thing. That greed itself is also a defilement. So with that greed and with that ignorance, with that infliction of violence on yourself, then you are not performing the meritorious action. Then at the time of death also, so you go through a lot of suffering. It is an unnatural way of ripening and getting into the divine realms or the higher realms. Then you spoil yourselves. You will fall into the lower realms where there is more suffering by doing these unwholesome things like inflicting violence and ignorantly thinking that I should get the next life here itself, now itself. Again becomes a defilement, a greed. All these things will not come under right view, and that will lead to more suffering, more ignorance. That is because of that reason, the wise people, though they are performing all the meritorious actions, they are not in a hurry to get the Nibbana or get the Brahmic realms or the divine realms. They just go through all the phases of life. They get ripened in their right view. The right view, they get ripened. And according to the nature of the body, they die. And after their death, they will get the better, superior realms. So in that way, Marakasapa tried to convince this Payasi. Then again, he was he was again putting for the same argument. No, I don't agree with your right view because what is your point? What is your argument? Why you don't agree? Then again, he says, so some of these thieves and all, when they were caught, and I used to tell them, put them in one very closed chamber, and I want to see their death, and at the time of death, whether that light, whether that soul, whether it goes away from his body, that I want to see. Like a scientist, he wanted to see this movement of soul at the time of death. That's what I experimented with many people, but I never saw anybody at the time of death giving up his soul, giving up his body, and that movement of the soul, that soul movement. I could not see in many of my experiments with those people who are dying. With the dying people, I could never see this kind of soul liberating from the body. Because of that reason, again, I stick on to my view that there's nothing like subsequent lives and all other world. Then again, his again, what is Kumara Kassapa's very beautiful reply to this? See, when you are dreaming, when you are dreaming, so you can see only by yourself whatever the dreamt say situation. Other people who are next to you, they can't see what you are dreaming. Your mind is moving. Your mind has left your body and it is moving in so many places while you're dreaming. Let us say you're dreaming about, say, some other country or some meeting with some other people or enjoying something else. Only that your mind is moving. It has left this body, your body. And other people who are sitting next to you also, they can't see where your mind is moving, where your mind is enjoying. In this very living body, the movement of the mind is not seen by the other people, by a third person. Then how can you see the movement of the mind of a dying person? When a person is dying, definitely you can't see the movement of the mind. With the living persons only, you can't see. With them also, you can't see the movement of the mind. At the time of death, with the dying person, how can you see the movement of the mind? So during those days, some people, theistic people, they used to call it as soul. But now, because in Buddha's right view, it is all the movement of the mind. That movement of the mind, even at the time of living also, when you're having living body also, you can't see the movement of the mind, the other person's mind movement. Then definitely you can't see the movement of the mind of a dying person also. Because of that reason, give up your wrong views. In that way, Kumara Kassapa tried to convince this Payasi. But still he uh, stood for his own view. No. So I stick on to say my view that so at the end of the this life, once you give up this body, then that is the end. There is nothing like the mind movement and all. Once the body stopped, then the mind also stopped. I stick on to my view. In that way, he started defending that he will not subscribe to this Kumara Kassapa's right view or Buddha's right view. Then again, he gives one more parable, one more simile. Let us say in some border country or in some tribal country where people are very innocent and ignorant about the ways of the world, the ways of the civilized, the so-called civilized world. So there's some person like you who went there and who has one very good trumpet, one one musical instrument. They have not seen the trumpet at all. Hmm? And when you started blowing the trumpet, they started hearing some very good sound from the trumpet. And then you just leave the trumpet there. Then these innocent tribal people, they started asking this trumpet, "Oh, trumpet, start making the sound, start making the sound. It is very pleasant sound." So the sound comes from this trumpet only. So they started requesting this trumpet. Hmm. So then whether that trumpets can start making sound, no. For that, there are so many other causes and conditions should come together for that sound to come out from the trumpet. Like a person like you who should blow it, with some skillfulness, with some knowledge, with some wisdom, and that wind also should be blown. That wind, the person, that skill of blowing that, and that instrument, all these different things should come together. Then only that trumpet sound they can hear, these people. In the same way, so different causes and conditions should come together. Then only hmm, the different lives after this life also will happen. So there are so many causes and conditions. It's not just the body and the four elements. The mind and the mental components also, there are very, very important factors. All those things will come together based on your mind consciousness, flow of mental consciousness. And that's how the next life happens. In that way, you can't simply say that for the life I should see the soul, I should see the soul moving to some other body. My open eyes, with my this flesh eyes, I should see. No, it can't possible. You can't see that with your flesh eyes, this physical eyes. There's so many other factors like the suitable environment, suitable parents, suitable say the physical elements and the mental factors. All of those things should come together for a new birth to happen. You can't simply see the soul as a light, as in some say these theistic people, they depict some light as a soul moving from a dying person. No, it is not so simplistic. So many factors should come together for the next life to happen, the rebirth to happen. Hmm. So through our physical senses, you can't comprehend that. All those factors coming together and the new life happening. You can't see that. You can't see that kind of light or soul movement with this physical eye or these physical senses. It requires tremendous comprehension of the ultimate realities like the body and the mind, bodily elements and the mental factors, and so many these causal, say your karmic forces, good karma, bad karma forces. All those different factors, if they come together, then only the rebirth happens. Just by mere movement of some light or some soul from one body to other body, it is not so simple like this. That way, Kumara Kassapa had to convince this Payasi that he can't see the soul movement at the time of death. And in that way, he started again sticking on to no. Somewhere I'm not in a position to comprehend what you're seeing. I stick on to my point. I should somehow comprehend either with my intelligence or with my five senses about the soul movement. So for that, again, this Kumar Kassapa gives one more simile, one more parable. One innocent boy who was like, say, was taken care of by one hermit, one sage, one innocent, again, one forest boy. He was left over by his parents. He was left and he was, say, orphaned by his parents. And this hermit has taken care of that small infant. And he became a small boy. And he was a fire worshipper, this hermit. And he told his sacred fire, but I'm going outside now for some other reason, for some business. When I come back, you should see that this fire should keep on. It should, like say, it should be like it should be alive. There should be fire always. Uh, or if it becomes like dull or dim, then you use some sticks, you cut some wood, make some sticks, and then again you make another fire. So in that way, he instructed this boy, and he just left the place. And this boy, of course, he is very innocent. When this fire extinguished, then he thought of cutting the wood, and he started putting those wood together and started to say he wanted to see the fire should come. It didn't come, and again he has to made it into some small pieces of wood. Again he brought them together. Again the fire didn't come, and he started making very small pieces also. This wood. Again he brought them together. Fire didn't come, and he just started making it powder. This wood, and again he brought them together. Again the fire. He could not light the fire, not ignite the things. And when this hermit came back and he saw the plight of this young boy to maintain this fire, then he tells them, "No, you are a foolish boy. So you have to get some fire from something somewhere, and then along with all these factors like firewood, like there should be no wind also. There should be some kind of dryness in the pigs also. There should be some kind of heat also. Those things only when they create another fire. In the same way, for the rebirth to happen, so many factors should come together. Your karmic force, your karma, good karma, bad karma, and then these different elements, different mental factors, all these different factors should come together. Then only the rebirth happens. You can't see it. Just like you can't see the already that heat element or that fire already which is present in this firewood. When all these different factors, the dryness, the wind of the wood, everything comes together, then only that fire will start igniting, it start burning. That rekindling will happen. So in that way, understanding these causes and conditions coming together is important. So that is possible again by knowing the mind and the matter, by knowing the mental factors, by knowing the elements of the body for meditation. Then only you will understand how by giving up the body, by giving up the mind, how with this karmic force, how new body, new mind will come. So for that, one should require this understanding of the the mental dimensions, how the mind works through awareness, through consciousness, by developing consciousness. Then only one can see how these different factors coming together. With your physical eye, you can't see how these different factors coming together to become a new life that you can't see with your physical eye. It requires these different causes and conditions coming together. That is possible only through meditation. By developing the mind only, you can see with your mental eye. That way, again, he gives this parable of rekindling a fire. And with these arguments, he was quite convinced. But still, he was adamant to give up this his wrong views. And what is the reason? Though he was a little bit convinced, well, he was convinced actually with this right view. I understand with so many parables that you are given. There is another world. There are spontaneous beings. There is result and fruit for good and bad actions. I get convinced. But the problem to give up my wrong views is if I give up my wrong views, whatever views I have now, that there is no other world and other two wrong views, then everybody know in this province, in this kingdom also, my friends, the princes, the kings, uh, all wise people, that Payasi has this kind of view. But now he has given up after discussing with Honorable Kumar Kasapa. Then they will laugh at me. They will tease me. They will laugh at me. Because of that reason, I don't want to give up. This is also, you might have seen, that is very much there in the present world also. with many of my friends, your friends, many of you who are into this paths here, if you started convincing them about the right view, about these right view classes and all, then like many people, like the materialists or the atheists or the theists, the extreme view people, they can't get convinced with this. Or if they get convinced also, they don't want to attend these meditation courses because they will be having their own say views and say practices based on the wrong views. They may be, some of them may be quite renowned in their practices. Then what other people will think? If I give up and if I take up the right view, what other people may think? That fear, that fear of other people blaming me or teasing me or laughing at me, that is one of the biggest fears. Because of that, I don't want to give up my views and I don't want to subscribe to your right view. In that way, he was like quite frank enough that we should appreciate with this Kumaraka, this Payasi. Then, of course, again, compassionately, this Venerable Kumar Kassapa, he started convincing him about the importance of giving up the wrong things for one's own benefit, for one's own happiness, for one's own progress. Hmm. And he gives actually, he quotes one of the Jataka tales told by Buddha himself, like two merchants. So one merchant actually, because of his wrong view, he could not give up his wrong view. He was completely destroyed by some tricksters. Hmm. When he was going through a forest, some goblins, some tricksters, they said that there is a lot of rain. You can just give up all your storage of grass for your bullocks and water for you people. Just give up because after passing just a few may not be even a mile, you'll get a lot of fresh water, lot of green grass. While listening to them, he wanted to just reduce the burden of this, and he just spilled all the water and gave up all this green grass. But later, because of no water, no food, all of them they died, and these goblins they gobbled them up. So because he could not give up his wrong view of say getting carried away by these foolish people with this cheating and lying and wrong views, that's why that first merchant was completely destroyed. The second merchant was a bodhisattva. He was quite observant. He was quite say flexible. He was quite say uh, he could judge the people with his awareness, and he could foresee the danger, and he could not yield to that those goblins who are in disguise, and he could not spill the water. He could throw the grass, and he could survive, and he could escape from that problem. That way, one should be little flexible. One should be little wise enough to look into what is beneficial to him, what is not beneficial to him, which view is beneficial to him, which view is not beneficial to him. That kind of little bit of skillfulness, sharpness, flexibility one should have because of one's own welfare. Because some people laugh at me, I can't go and fall into a pit just to please other people, just to protect yourself from the comments or from the blame of the other people. Some foolish people with who are having their own wrong views. They want to pull you into their wrong view. And because of that, they maybe keep on prizing and pampering you. And they're thinking that their prize and pamper is good for you. They really like you, respect you, love you. Many people they get trapped into this kind of so-called prizing and pampering. They just they're they're carried away with that pricing and pampering, and they can't see what is really truly beneficial for them. So the same thing with this Payasi also, with this Prince Payasi also. For that, Buddha gives this Jataka tale. It was told by Buddha himself. This Venerable Kumar Kassapa gives this Jataka tale. Again, he quotes this and said and asks him, don't get carried away, don't get subscribed to this kind of false pampering, false pricing, which is not beneficial to you, which leads to your harm only. A good friend, many times, he reprimands when you are doing wrong. Only bad people will prize you, will pull you to wrong views. Hmm. A good person, he may reprimand you, he may shout at you to take up the right things for your own benefit. In that way, don't yield to the wrong people's or the evil people's prize and tampering. It will be for your harm only. If the right view is very convincing for you and if it is beneficial for you, then you should ignore the wrong people. Should ignore the people who are having say wrong view, who are simply falsely prizing you for your wrong views. To stick on to right view, then right people will appreciate you. Nothing you are going to lose. Rather, you will get a lot of benefits like this Bodhisattva. In that way, he used to narrate this Bodhisattva story to convince this Payasi that there is no harm in giving up the wrong views and change, but being flexible and being smart enough to accept and move to some superior view, some better view for your own happiness, for your own good. That way, he gives the parable of the two merchants. Again, he says he was not very much convinced to give up his wrong view because the people will laugh at him. He has a lot of reputation as the person who is having this kind of materialistic or this atheistic or this body-centered views. That glory I don't want to give up. Because of for the pricing and tampering of some stupid people. He was adamantly sticking on to his wrong views, though he was very much convinced that right view of Buddha and Kumar Kassapa is very good for him. But still, out of the fear of the blame from some stupid people, he was holding on to his own wrong views. For that, again, Venerable Kumar Kassapa, with a little bit of strong words, he gives one more example, one more parable. A person uh, uh, who is a swineherd. Swineherd means one who takes up the pigs. Hmm? You know the pigs, like cowherd, like a cowherd. There is a person called swineherd or pig herd who takes care of pigs. Hmm? For the pigs, this dung is required. So he saw one heap of dung. Then it was quite dry, and he took a lot of the dry dung and he just put it into one cloth and he just tied it and he kept it on his head. But rain started and all that dung it started oozing on his head. It has started, say, spoiling his clothes and his body and all. Many people say now it is raining and why are you carrying this dung? Just give it up. By the time you reach your house, all this uh, dung will be over. It will be like carried away by the rain and it will be wasted. Unnecessary efforts you are making. No, he didn't give up. He started saying, no, dung is very precious for me. I will hold on to this dung. I will feed this dung to my swine, my pigs. I will get some appreciation from my pigs by feeding this. I will take care of my pigs by feeding this dung. So in that way, with his wrong view of holding on to the dung, getting say taking care of his pigs by holding on to the dung. So it didn't serve because by the time he reached his house, completely was drenched in that oozing cow dung, and he could not get any dung also. And he spoiled himself, and also he could not give anything to his pigs also. The same thing if you are holding of your wrong view, you hold your wrong view, you spoil your mind also, and in return you help no one. And for the sake of some swines, some pigs, if you spoil yourself and if you don't help those pigs also, what is the use of holding on to the wrong view and trying to get some appreciation from those people who are just like pigs only? So in that way, again, Venerable Kumar Kassapa tried to convince this Payasi. And again, he could not appreciate that. And again, he says like, no, I don't want to give up my wrong view. And then again, he gives one more example of two gamblers. One gambler, hmm, he used to cheat the other gambler by swallowing those dice. During that time, I think that was the way of playing the dice game. And this fellow, the other fellow, he started smearing some poison to that dice. But still, in his over enthusiasm to defeat this first guy, the other person who is to swallow those dice, even though he knew it is poison, he started swallowing those dice for the sake of defeating, for the sake of having that ego inflation of defeating the other person. He harmed himself by taking these poisonous dice, by swallowing that poisonous dice. Your action is also something like that. If you thoroughly know that this wrong view is like a poisonous dice, you're holding on to that. You're swallowing that wrong view, that poisonous dice. Though it harms you, it may kill you also. But still, for your proudness, for your ego inflation, to get some prize from some stupid people, if you are swallowing this poison of wrong view, then you harm yourself, and also whatever price you are going to get from them, that also you are not going to get, because after some time they will realize that you are a foolish person. They too will realize, because you have harmed yourself so much. In that way, again, he gives an example of swallowing the poisonous dice by the gambler out of his ego, that he wants to win, even though it is dangerous to his body. So, in that way, the two people who were in search of the hemp to prepare some very good cloth, they started getting some hemp. Hemp is like some jute kind of thing, from which you can extract some fiber and you can prepare some thread and you can weave that thread into cloth. But this one person, he saw the hemp fiber and he told, "You just give up that hemp." They were both of them. They got some hemp and they were carrying. And this one person, he saw some hemp fiber itself, and he told, "Let us give up this hemp and let us carry the hemp fiber, which is available here readily now." But the first person, he says, "No, no, no. Hemp is important for me. I will stick on to this hemp only. I carry hemp only." That means that thick sticks which are not fiber. But the second person, he gave up his hemp. He carried the hemp fiber. After passing through some distance, they got hemp cloth itself. But this first person, he could not give up this hemp. The second person, he carried the hemp cloth by giving up hemp. After passing through some distance, they got some better cloth, some cotton cloth, some silk cloth, some superior cloth with some golden threads and all. But still, this first person, out of his ignorance or adamancy to carry only hemp, but attachment to hemp, he could not give up the hemp and he could not take the better superior cloth. But the person who carried the cloth with the golden threads and all, he became a rich person, rich merchant. So in that way, if you want to grow, if you want to progress and prosper in spirituality, in the true happiness, you have to give up your wrong views. Once you start realizing that this is wrong view, one should give it up and start subscribing to superior views. That's what is progress. That's what is like the mind cultivation. That's what is the spiritual progress. Of course, all of us, we might have gone through a lot of wrong views in our life. But once we keep on learning new things, and we should start understanding, when we start understanding the different aspects of right view, then we should progress in that. If we keep on sticking, if we keep on holding on to our hemp, thinking that this hemp itself is superior, and not seeing the benefits of the hemp, the cloth and the cotton cloth or the silk cloth, and don't give up your hemp, you're a fool. In spirituality, I'm talking about at the spiritual level. The spiritual level, the role of views will come. Eternalistic views, nihilistic, atheistic or this materialistic views, they overpower this whole world. People get carried away in these extreme views only. Once you keep learning that the difficulties, the limitations, the dangers of this wrong views, then you keep progressing in the right view step by step. During that time, you should unload, should just say, give up your wrong views. Because some people will laugh at me, I have given up this religion, this let us say sect, this school of thought. Then people will laugh at me. That kind of hesitation, that kind of ego, one should not say cultivate. One should give up those things. Then only you progress. Then only you realize true happiness, true peace, true freedom, true wisdom. In that way, he could convince. So in that way, is Venerable Kumar Kassapa could convince him finally, giving so many parables. That's why he is called a skeptic. But he's, of course, he's a wise man. That's what one of the say uh, ways of the wise people in India. That's what they say in the commentary. They try to have this kind of more and more parables. They enjoy the Indian debaters or wise people to get more and more parables, more and more similes. They keep on asking that they don't subscribe, so that they will get more and more parables. Of course, with some humility, with some humbleness. But as a prince, he was having a little bit of proudness. It's okay, but this Venerable Kumar Kassapa, he could handle him very wisely, very skillfully by giving very suitable parables, similes, which are suitable for his defense. It will it can destroy his defense and his wrong views. And finally, he could subscribe, he could yield to this right view, and then he became the disciple of Kumara Kassapa and the follower of right view of course, Buddha. Hmm. Then he says, "So, all right, now I have realized the right view. To celebrate this, I want to give one big sacrifice. I want to say, earn some merit by performing one very big meritorious action." And again, there was some proudness, some kind of carelessness, some kind of say, rudeness was there in his uh, performing of meritorious actions. And then this Kumar Kassapa says, so sacrificing the animals, killing the animals, the name of sacrifice and all, it is bad. It will not give you the best results, best fruits. And also, say, sacrificing something, giving something to the people of wrong you, it also will not give the superior fruits. Just like when you sow seeds in an unfertile land, in a dry land with a very, 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 say, sandy land with full of sand, with no water, no fertility, in such a place, and the seeds are also not very, say, good seeds, good quality seeds. There you don't get the good crop. The seeds will not germinate. In the same way, if you perform this kind of wrong actions like killing and giving to wrong people with wrong view, wrong action, wrong livelihood, for such people, if you give, the fruits are not good. So rather, you should stop this killing of animals and sacrificing animals and perform the right generosity, right dana to the right people with the right view. Then the results will be far superior. The people who are promoting right view, who are like say talking right view, who are spreading right view, for practicing right view, for such people better to give dana. Then whatever results or fruits you get, that will be superior fruits. In that way, he asked him to perform that meritorious action for the right view people. And again after that, again there was little more proudness in his mind, and he asked one of his person to perform uh, that actual giving. He just ordered some people to perform that actual giving, actual generous action, and he himself was away from that particular meritorious ceremony. His name was Uttara, that administrator's name was Uttara. But Uttara, with lot of devotion, lot of faith, lot of understanding so by his own hand, he started offering with lot of respect and lot of joy, the joyfulness. before offering, at the time of offering, after the offering also. And also with right understanding, I'm performing a very right meritorious action because I'm giving all these things without killing any animal. And also I'm giving this to the people who are having right view, who are promoting right view, who are practicing right view. So because of that difference in the mind at the time of giving, so this Uttara, he took birth in a superior divine realm, and this Payasi, after his death, he took birth in a inferior divine realm. Though he has given, though he developed some right view, but at the time of giving, at the time of performing meritorious action, he was a little bit negligent, he was a little bit careless, he was not enjoying that action of giving by his own hand. Time of giving, before giving, after giving, he was not like joyful, he was not that rejoice, he was not rejoicing. Because of that reason, he took birth in a relatively inferior world, divine world. And there was one monk by name Gavesampi. So he used to visit these different divine realms. And once, when he visited this divine realm, and he saw this uh, Gavampati, that monk's name is Gavampati. He saw this one divine being approached him, and he saluted and he asked him, "Who are you?" Then he says that I was uh, this Prince Payasi. In my previous life, I was Prince Payasi. I listened to this venerable Kumar Kasapa, and I developed cultivated right view. Because of that, I started practicing some meritorious actions. But I could not do those meritorious actions by myself with my own hands, and I was a little bit negligent and careless, and I could not rejoice those things. Because of that, I have taken birth in this inferior divine realm. Shatumaharadika, they call it as. So in that realm, I have taken birth. My assistant, this Uttara, this young boy, he did this meritorious action with right view, with right understanding of the importance of giving, and he offered it to the right few people for practicing or cultivating right view. Because of that, he got very good results, very good fruits, and he has taken birth in a superior divine realm, the Taotims are divine realm. So this you please go and tell in the human world the importance of right view, the importance of offering to right view, the importance of offering or giving to right view people with respect, with joyfulness, with joy in the mind. These three things, please go and tell in my name to all the people. Let them learn. Gampati was happy. Uh, the great meditator he was, and he was. Uh, so he came back to the human world, and he proclaimed that this is what happened with this Prince Payasi and his assistant Uttara. Hmm, while learning right view, while offering based on right view, while offering to people who are having right view. This is the mind you should have. That way, this kind of right view about mind centeredness, about rejoicing while offering, about the very act of offering, about the fruits of your good actions like offering and mental cultivation through right view, and to come out of these wrong views of there is no other world, there are no spontaneous beings, there is no result and fruit for the good deeds and bad deeds. So this kind of wrong views, they have completely given up. That's why they have taken the divine realms in their next birth. So in that way, you also understand this right view and the importance of right view and performing the meritorious actions based on right view to the people of right view. This will help you forever. In that way, this Gavampati could convince the other people in the human world. So to that extent, this Payasi has served so many humans also to learn this right view. Just like by teaching right view to this King Milinda by Venerable Nagasena, so many millions of people, not only in India, even outside India also, they could learn right view in the same way because of this Prince Payasi also. Many people could learn right view and perform actions based on right view. So that is what is the importance of today's Payasi. sutta, how this Venerable Kumarakasapa, the great teacher, could convince and teach right view and put him into the right track. This Prince Payasi, that is the sutta. Okay, now if you have some questions, you can ask, and then we conclude. Okay. So this is one of the beautiful suttas where very effectively, where with some simple similes and parables, and very patiently, he could convince and immediately how the results also, how by convincing one person like Payasi, how so many people got this right view, very systematically, very beautifully. This this groceries are given, and for many people, even today also, one can connect in different ways to different parables given here. One could connect and one can give up their wrong views and take more zeal, more interest, more commitment. They can have dedication, more dedication in performing the right view meritorious actions. Mm, and also right view meditations, perform right view meditations, right view meritorious actions by yourself, and also help other people. This is the best promotion. This is the best spread that should happen in the world. There is no other spread. There is no other best thing that one can give, one should give actually, other than this right view spread. That is the power. And completely change one's perception towards life, and that is the best gift. Just like the things happened during the time of this Buddha and Venerable Kumarakasapa, where a lot of emphasis on right view and changing the wrong views and the wrong attitudes and the wrong knowledge of different people by so many masters, so many householders, so many kings, so many princes like this. Hmm. I wish our meditators in this CRVM, they also take a lot of, say, inspiration from this sutta, and let them also work on imbibing, synthesizing, assimilating, progressing in right view by themselves, and also very enthusiastically spreading this right view and power of right view and right view meditation more and more people, so that world become say happier, world become more peaceful, world become more, say, free from the clutches of lot of bondages. So that is what is the message of today's Dhammata. So with that, we'll conclude. नमो तस्सा भगवतो अर्हतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा भवतु सब्ब मंगलं रक्कन्तु सब्ब देवता सब्ब बुद्धानुभावेन सब्ब धम्मानुभावेन सब्ब संघानुभावेन सदा सोत्ति भवन्तु ते सुखी भवे यन्निधुको अहं निच्चा अहं विया दाचा मे सुखी होन्तु माज्यता च तवेदिनो इमाम इगम मन्ते धम्मे सत्ता होन्तु सुखी सदा ततो परंचारज्येषु चक्रवालेषु जन्तनो साधु 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 सुखी होन्तु मंगल हो. May all of you be happy, healthy and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy and peaceful. सुखी होन्तु.